Hello all. So today we are going to start our session number 2 of current playlist, which is microeconomics. In current session we are going to discuss about equilibrium of demand and supply, importance of time element, price elasticity of demand, what are the different determinants of elasticity. We'll also discuss about income elasticity of demand and then price elasticity of supply also. And towards the end of the session we'll discuss about factors of productions and various economic market structures. So this is the full syllabus of microeconomics as per IBBI syllabus, and this carries 3 marks as per revised IBBI syllabus with effect from 1st July 2022. So in session number 1 of current playlist we have already covered about consumption, indifference curve, definition of indifference curve, properties and derivation of indifference curve. We also discussed budget line, budget equation, derivation formulas, table, graphical picture also. Consumer equilibrium we also discussed, consumer surplus and its measurement, law of demand, type of demand curves, determinants, assumptions and exceptions to law of demand. And we also discussed in session number 1 law of supply. So what are the different types of supply curves, determinants, assumptions and exceptions to law of supply. So if you're not gone through session number 1, I would highly recommend to please go through session number 1 before going ahead with session number 2 for better understanding of this microeconomics chapter. So I'll leave link for session number 1 on top of the slide. Link is given above, and it is also given in description box below. So let us first discuss about equilibrium of demand supply. So law of demand, law of supply we have already discussed in session number 1. So market equilibrium, it is a situation of the market in which demand of a commodity exactly matches with supply of the commodity. So this is the demand curve and this is the supply curve. So thus there is neither excess demand nor excess supply. So the point where this is the point where supply curve and demand curve intersects each other, and that means there is demand and supply both are equal. So equilibrium price of commodity at which demand and supply of goods become equal, right? So this is the price. So here this is the price where demand and supply becomes equal. And equilibrium quantity demanded or quantity supplied at equilibrium price point is called equilibrium quantity. So this is the equilibrium quantity. Now let us try to understand what is the impact of change in demand on equilibrium price. So that means as demand increase or decrease, how equilibrium price react to change in demand of a commodity. As demand increase, demand curves move from DD, this is the DD curve, to DDHH, and both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity increases. So here, so if this is the normal demand curve, so as demand increases, so this demand curve will move outside, supply curve will remain same. So if it will move outside, then equilibrium price will increase from PE to PEH, and equilibrium quantity will increase from QE to QEH. So this is the price, this is the quantity point, and this is the price point for equilibrium. As likewise, as demand decrease, the demand curve moves inward from DD to DL. So as demand will decrease, it will move downward. So accordingly, price will reduce, equilibrium price will reduce from PE to PEL, and the equilibrium quantity will reduce from QE to QEL. What if demand remain constant and supply changes? So in that case, that means the demand curve remain constant and supply keeps on changing. So if supply will increase, then supply curve will move from this point to this point. It will move outward from SS to SHSH. The equilibrium price will reduce from PE to PEH. This point, this is the new equilibrium point. So price will reduce from PE to PEH. However, quantity will increase from QE to QEH. Likewise, if supply decreases, then this curve will move inward and equilibrium point will move from this point to this point. Accordingly, price will increase, equilibrium price will increase from PE to PEL, and equilibrium quantity will decrease from QE to QEL. Let us now discuss importance of time element. Marshall, who gave theory that price is determined by both demand and supply, also gave great importance to the time element in the determination of price. So Marshall divided time into different periods from the viewpoint of supply and not from viewpoint of demand. Please note down this single point, very important line from examination perspective. Marshall divided time into different periods from the viewpoint of supply and not from viewpoint of demand. In case of change in demand, supply takes time to get itself adjusted to the new demand. So time can be divided into following three periods on the basis of response of supply to a given and permanent change in demand. So number one is market period, short run, long run. So what is market period? It is a very short period wherein producers cannot produce any extra goods but try to increase the supply by cleaning their existing stock, that is which is already produced by them. And short run, here producers try to increase production of goods by changing variable factors like capacity utilization increases but without changing existing capital goods, right? So basically here in market period, during market period, the suppliers will not increase their capacity utilization. If I have a capacity of 100 ton of factory and I'm running it at 60 ton of capacity, 60% of capacity utilization, I'll keep running at 60% capacity utilization, and I'll try to clean up my extra stock. I'll try to reduce my inventory of finished goods. So that is a period of market period. So if I start increasing capacity utilization, say from 60 to 70, 80, 90 or 100% of the existing capacity utilization, that is being done during the short run. And during long run, here producers install new factories. So here capacity will increase from 100 ton. The producer would like to increase the capacity from 100 ton to 200 ton, 150 tons maybe. Replace old machines, do new capex. New players enter in the market to build a permanent rise in supply of goods. Elasticity of demand. Law of demand tells us about direction to which demand moves when there is a change in price. So law of demand tells about the direction of demand. But concept of price elasticity explains the exact change in demand when there is a change in price. So it tells about, law of demand tells about the direction. Price elasticity tells about the quantum of change. Thus, price elasticity is the degree of responsiveness or sensitiveness of demand to a change in price of a commodity. So mathematically, price elasticity, which is also symbolized by EP, is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So mathematically, this is also written as in this form also, formula. Please note down this formula. So these are the different 5 types of price elasticity. Perfectly, or also called perfectly inelastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand. It is also called completely inelastic demand, and here EP is equal to 0. If EP is equal to 0, then it is called perfectly or completely inelastic demand. If EP is greater than 0 but less than 1, it is called inelastic demand. If EP is equal to 1, it is called unit elastic demand. If EP is more than 1 but less than infinite, it is called elastic demand. And if EP is equal to infinite, it is called perfectly elastic demand, or also called infinitely elastic demand. Please remember this slide, because 1 mark theory question sometimes comes out of this slide only. So this is the graphical presentation of perfectly inelastic demand, which is EP is equal to 0. So here demand doesn't change as price change, right? So here what is happening? Price has been changed from P to PH, but demand curve is constant. So demand is constant, right? So this is the demand. Quantity demanded is remain constant. So price elasticity is equal to change in quantity demanded. Since change is 0, at this price quantity demanded is D, at this price quantity demanded is D again, or E or EH. So it is same actually. So 0 divided by OD, this is the total quantity demanded, and price change, this is the PPH divided by OP. So since numerator is 0, Q, difference of Q, quantity demanded, change in quantity demanded is 0, so that means price elasticity in this case is 0. Inelastic demand, here quantity demanded changes by a smaller percentage than price does, right? So here this is the quantity of change in quantity demanded, this is Q, right? However, this change in price is more. So quantity demand, percentage change in quantity demanded is less vis-a-vis change in price, percentage change in price. So here you can say it will remain EP is equal to less than 1. More than 0 positive, it will remain positive, but will be less than 1. This is called inelastic demand. Unit elastic demand, here quantity demanded changes by exactly the same percentage as price change. So here this change in quantity is always equal to percentage change in quantity is equal to percentage change in price. That is why it is called unit elastic. This area is equal to this area percentage. This area percentage of this is equal to this area percentage of this OP. Elastic demand, here quantity demanded changes by a larger percentage than price does. Here this percentage change of quantity demanded is large vis-a-vis percentage change in price of the commodity. That is why EP is equal to is greater than 1 but less than infinite. That is called elastic demand. And last one is perfectly elastic demand. That means buyers are ready to buy all goods at one price and not even a single good at other price. So here, as quantity will change, so there is no scope of price change actually. So that is why here change in price will remain 0. So since in denominator there is 0, so value will be infinite. So these are the determinants of elasticity. Nature of commodity. Necessity goods are inelastic, but luxury goods are elastic. Please remember, each and every slide is important from examination perspective. Theory question can come out of any slide. Number of users, that also affect elasticity. Goods with more variety of users are elastic. For example, electricity has many users like cooking, heating, ironing, lighting, etc. Then third determinant could be number of substitutes. Goods with more number of substitutes are more elastic than goods with less number of substitutes. Durability of good, these are inelastic. For example, salt, matchbox, etc. Low price goods, these are again inelastic. For example, salt, matchbox. Proportion of income spent, goods needing less expenditure are inelastic. So Let us also try to understand what is the importance of elasticity. It deeply analyzes price demand relationship. It helps producers in producing prices of their in fixing prices of their products. It also helps government to declare certain industries as public utilities. It also help government to frame economic policies. It further helps finance minister in matter of taxation. It explains reasons why poverty exists in midst of plenty. It also helps in international trade to determine terms of trade between two countries. So next is income elasticity of demand. So income elasticity explains the exact change in demand when there is a change in real income of consumer who buys the good. So in case of price elasticity, it was the responsiveness, as against the change in price of the commodity. However, in case of income elasticity, the responsiveness, of demand against change in real income of the customer. So please note down, real income, not gross income, real income of the consumer who buy the good. Thus, income elasticity is degree of responsiveness or sensitiveness of demand to a change in real income of the consumers who buy the good. Mathematically, again it is EI. In case of price elasticity, we used to denote with EP. However, in case of income elasticity, we used to write symbol EI, and it is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded, same as like that of EP. However, in denominator, instead of price change, percentage change in price, here we calculate percentage change in real income, denominator. So these are the determinants of income elasticity. So you can say range of income elasticity. If it is negative, then that means type of goods will be inferior goods. Please note down this slide, because 1 mark theory questions sometimes come out of this slide only. So if it is income elasticity is less than is negative or less than 0, then it means it is inferior goods here. And if it is positive, then it is normal goods. This inferior good, normal good we have already discussed in session number 1. Then again, if income elasticity is more than 0 but less than 1, then it is called necessities, or vice versa. In case of necessities, income elasticity remain between 0 and 1. However, in case of luxury goods, income elasticity remain more than 1. And in case of normal goods, income elasticity remain positive. In case of inferior goods, income elasticity remain negative. Price elasticity of supply. This is the third concept. Price elasticity of supply explains the exact change in supply when there is a change in price. Thus, price elasticity of supply is the degree of responsiveness or sensitiveness of supply to a change in price of a commodity. So, price elasticity of demand was something, responsiveness of demand toward change in price, and price elasticity of supply is similarly, it is responsiveness of change of quantity supplied with respect to the change in price of the commodity. So similar formula will be there. ES is equal to change in quantity supplied. Earlier it was demanded, now it is supplied, and percentage change in price. So QS divided by QS divided by P divided by P. So these are the various types of price elasticity of supply. If price elasticity is equal to 1, that means it is a neutral supply. And here in this case, percentage change in price will always remain equal to percentage change in supply. If price elasticity is more than 1, then it is called elastic supply. And here in this case, percentage change in price will remain less than percentage change in supply. However, if it is more than 1, then it is called inelastic supply. Here percentage change in price will be more than percentage change in supply. Next important concept from examination perspective is cross elasticity. Cross elasticity is an economic concept which measures responsiveness in the quantity demanded of one good when the price of another good changes. So mathematically, it is also called EC, cross elasticity, and mathematically it is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded of X good divided by percentage change in price of related good. So in case of price elasticity, quantity and price were both of same good. However, in this case, quantity of one good divided by change in price of second good. So this is the formula for calculating the price elasticity. Substitute products. So here in this case, for example, in case of coffee and tea, if price of coffee increase, so here if price of coffee increase from P to PH, then demand for tea shall also increase, being substitute product. So if price of coffee will increase, the sum of the customers who you normally drink coffee, they will move their consumption, shift their consumption from coffee to tea, which will again lead to the increase in demand of the tea. So that is why tea and coffee are called substitute products. Complementary products. In case of pen and ink, as price of pen increase, people would buy less pens, leading to decrease in demand of ink as well. So here, as price of pen will increase, so demand for ink will decrease because less pens will be purchased, and accordingly manufacturers and consumers will buy less ink from the manufacturing companies. So such type of products, two products are called complementary products. So let us talk about what are the various factors of production. Broadly speaking, there are four major factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurs or organization. So let us discuss each of these four factors in detail. Land. In economics, land means to all free gift of nature. Please remember this definition of land as per economics. It includes all natural resources like land, soil, air, water, light, natural, vegetarian, etc. So following are the key characteristics of land. So please do remember, in economics, land doesn't mean land only. It also includes soil, air, water, light, natural, vegetarian. And one mark theory question sometimes comes out of this, one slide only. So these are the major characteristics of land. Land is free gift of nature. Supply of land is fixed. Land is permanent and has indestructible powers. Land is passive factor. Land is immovable. Land has multiple uses. Land is heterogeneous. This is second factor production, which is labor. It includes both physical and mental labor put in. Please remember, do remember physical and mental labor put in to produce goods and services. All human effort, physical and mental both, undergone partly or wholly with a view to generate an income apart from pleasure is called labor. This is the definition of labor. Labor has following characteristics. Labor is human effort, number one. Labor is perishable in nature. What does that mean? Labor cannot be stored. If a worker does not come in one shift, his labor for that shift is lost completely. It cannot be stored and utilized for the next day. The labor is an active factor. That is, it is the factor that starts production. Land and capital are passive factors since they alone cannot start production without labor. Labor is inseparable from laborers. Thus, physical presence of laborer is compulsory at place of production of goods and service. Labor power differs from laborer to laborer. Non-productive time is the hours you must pay an employee for when he is not producing income for the business. Since labor cannot be stored, laborers are generally forced to work at wages decided by the employers. Thus, in comparison of employers, laborers have very little bargaining power. Laborers are mobile. Thus, labor can be moved across jobs, locations within the economy. However, there is no rapid adjustment of labor, supply of labor to demand for it. It happens gradually. Choice between hours of labor and hours of leisure. Third factor of production is capital. Capital refers to all man-made goods that are used for further production of wealth. Both land and labor are primary or original factors. However, capital is a produced factor of production. Please remember this line. Thus, capital is being produced by man by working with nature. The following are the major type of capital: fixed capital, circulating capital, real capital, human capital, tangible, intangible capital, individual and social capital. So fixed capital is nothing but it has a durable shape and renders a series of services over a period of time. For example, tools and machineries, etc. Circulating capital, it is being used in production for single use only and cannot be reused. For example, seeds, fuel, raw material, etc. Real capital, it refers to the physical goods like buildings, plants, machineries. Then human capital, it is nothing but human skill and ability, because it need good investment to create these abilities in humans. Then tangible versus intangible capital. Tangible capital can be perceived with senses. However, intangible capital is in the form of certain rights and benefits which cannot be perceived by senses. For example, patents, goodwill, rights, etc. are intangible capital. So machinery is intangible, goodwill, rights are intangible, building is tangible, otherwise patent, goodwill is intangible. Individual social capital. Individual capital is personal property owned by an individual or a group of individuals. Please remember this thing. This individual capital is property owned by individual or a group of individual. This is a little bit confusing. Please remember from examination perspective. And social capital is what belong to society as a whole in the form of, for example, road, bridges, etc. So here, group of individual owning a property is also called individual, not social. And fourth factor of production is entrepreneur. He is an individual who creates a business bearing most of the risk and enjoying most of the rewards. Following are the main functions of entrepreneurs: initiating business enterprise and resource coordination, risk bearing or uncertainty bearing. And third one is innovations. So these are the main objectives of entrepreneur. Organic objective: any business first survive, then grow or expand, and then tries to achieve efficiency, stability, recognition, prestige, and goodwill. The set of these objectives is known as organic objectives of a business. Then economic objectives: all firms try to maximize shareholders' profit. That is wealth maximization. This is the economic objective. Social objective: these individuals are willing to take on the risk and effort to create positive changes in the society through their initiatives. For example, generation of employment opportunities, supply of quality products at fair price, welfare of employees, environment protection, etc. Fourth objective could be human objective: employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction. And fifth type of objective could be national objective: reducing imports, increasing exports, performing business activities within the framework of national priorities, contribution to national GDP, etc. So let us take the last topic of today's session, which is economic market structures. So they are, broadly speaking, entire market can be divided into four type of economic structures or categories: perfect market, monopolistic market, oligopoly market, and pure monopoly market. So we'll discuss each one of them, and then in the end I'll give you a small table, having comparative analysis of each of these four markets for easy remember of key points of these four markets from examination perspective. Perfect market, a large number of buyers and sellers transact over homogeneous product. Thus neither buyer nor seller has command over price. There are no entry barriers, no exit barriers. For example, furniture market. This is also called pure competition. Please remember. Monopolistic markets, here large number of buyers and sellers transact over differentiated products. Thus different sellers offer different products but close substitutes, and accordingly prices of different products are not interdependent. For example, music industry. A.R. Rahman sells rock music, Pankaj Das sells ghazals, Lata used to sell melody songs. So there are no entry and exit barriers. Oligopoly market. Here few sellers sell homogeneous or differentiated products to large number of buyers. Here prices are interdependent. They are high entry and exit barriers. Example of this oligopoly market is aviation industry and cement industry. And fourth type of market is pure monopoly market. Here single seller sells homogeneous product for large number of buyers. Here there is no close substitute, high entry barriers, and there is a possibility of price discrimination. Classic example of this pure monopoly market in India is railway. So 1 mark theory question is very likely to come out of these four type of market structures. So if you understand this table, it is highly most likely you will be able to answer that 1 mark theory question if it comes from this topic of economic market structure. So here in case of perfect market, number of sellers will be large. Monopolistic market, again it will be large. In case of oligopoly market, it will be few, and in case of monopoly market, there will be single seller. However, if we talk about number of buyers, they will remain very large in perfect market and monopolistic market. However, in case of oligopoly market, it could be large or unspecified, and monopolistic market would be large, normally large or unspecified. Then product differentiation. In case of perfect market, it will be homogeneous with perfect substitute. In case of monopolistic, it will be differentiated but close substitute. In case of oligopoly market, it will be homogeneous or differentiated, either of two. And monopoly market, it will remain homogeneous. Entry barriers. In case of perfect market, there are no entry barriers. In case of monopolistic market, there will be nil or almost no entry, very low entry barriers. In case of oligopoly market, there will be high entry barriers, but still one person can make entry of it in the market. And in case of monopoly market, entry is blocked, like railway. Seller control over price. In case of perfect market, there is no control of seller over price. In monopolistic, the seller has some control. Oligopoly again has some control, but in monopoly, seller has huge control over price of the item. Price elasticity of demand of a firm. In case of perfect market, very important point. In case of perfect market, it remains infinite. In case of monopolistic market, it remains large. In case of oligopoly market, it remains small. And again monopoly, it remains again small. Short run profits. In case of perfect market, short run profits are available. So short run profits are available in all four markets. Sometimes this 1 mark theory question come out of this only, short run profits. And long run profits, these are not possible in perfect market and monopolistic market. In case of oligopoly market, long run profits are available if entry is blocked and seller holds a control. However, in case of monopoly market, long-term profits are possible. So that's all for today's session. Thank you very much for watching session number 2 of current playlist on microeconomics. So before I'll tell you what we are going to have in third and last session of microeconomics, I would again request you to please subscribe to the channel and click on bell icon if you're not done till now, so that you will be notified immediately about next session going to upload. So in third and last session of microeconomics, we are going to discuss about various theories of rent, interest, gross rent, pure interest, and then theories of profit: Walker theory, Clark theory, Hawley theory, Knight theory, Scumber, wage theory, socialist theory. And in theory of rent, we will discuss about Ricardian concept of rent in detail, Modern theory friend, again we'll discuss this theory in detail. Cauchy rent, these three theories we'll discuss in detail, and these seven theories we'll discuss in small portion, because theory question normally comes out of this part, and sometimes it also come from these seven theories. So we'll discuss all these theories in detail. Thank you for watching.